So, you want to be a Dane, do you? Yeah, I'm starting this video out just like the previous video of this series. And since you're watching this video right now, I guess you've already watched the previous one on how to look like a Danish person. If not, what are you even doing here? Get on level with the rest of the class! You can't take a walk in Danish shoes if you forgot to put them on! Anyway, thanks to that video, we all now know how to look Danish, but that's not quite enough now, is it? You need to act Danish to become the real flag-waving, pork-eating, happy-to-be tax-paying deal. Again, it's so lucky you have me to teach you. First, to make sure that people know that you're totally not racist, always start your racist outburst with "not to be racist." But, because that really eliminates every racist thing which comes out of your mouth. Also, don't even think about being happy when you're out grocery shopping. Grocery shopping is not fun. This is a game of cards, and if you're not playing by the rules, you won't be in the next season. You're here to win by getting all of the groceries you need into your cart with as few casualties as possible. And by casualties, I mean vocal encounters, eye contact, and the infamous getting there second and having to wait your turn. Køkultur! If you have a cold, stay at home. In Denmark, it is perfectly okay to stay at home because of a runny nose, because none of us wants to see you blow it. Every Danish person has a story which they tell their friends about someone who had a loose booger or just snotted in the same room as them. So if you don't want to be the main character of that story, just don't blow your nose in front of people. I swear, people will non-discreetly make this face at you if you do. So also learn to make that face if you want to be a true Dane. And the infamous don't talk to strangers because they don't want to talk to you, and you as a Dane certainly don't want to talk to them either when you're just out casually running your everyday errands. You only know you're a real Danish person the day you get annoyed by someone sitting or standing close to you in a public space where there's clearly space available around you. If you haven't considered the person who sat next to you in an empty bus to be a thief or a serial killer, you're not Daning right. And you don't just need to stop talking to strangers yourself, you also need to make sure that strangers don't talk to you. But how do I do that? I can't control other people. Stay with me, because this is where the thing I mentioned in the how to look like a Danish person video come into play. You need to look as unapproachable and intimidating as possible, like the dangerous Viking that you are. Just look pissed as fuck, like the kind of pissed you get when you just ordered nuggets at McDonald's and you just got home and the box wasn't just missing one, it was missing 2 fucking nuggets, and now you're on the way back there to smack a bitch. Very few people will approach that. Extra! Whenever a secret number calls you, do not even think about answering it before Googling the number first. Again, it could be a person you don't know. So slap it away. In Denmark, it is not cool to lose your cool. While losing your temper or talking loudly with big hand gestures in public about a topic you really care about may seem like a sign of power and or passion in many other cultures, to a Dane, it just seems flat out childish. When meeting such people, a true Dane will think, this is a person who can't control themselves, and therefore this is a person I can't trust. I'm actually serious about this. This has a lot to do with that law of Jansen mindset the Danes have, which I frequently mention in videos. So let's just come up with a serious example, shall we? An example can be Beyonce smashing in a car window to get back at Jay-Z for being unfaithful. This action is totally justified in many other cultures and will make people scream, "You go, girl!" Meanwhile, it will most likely make a Dane lose a bit respect for her and say, well, now you're not really better yourself, are you? In Denmark, you are not automatically the better person just because someone did you wrong. You actually need to act like the better person to earn that title here. Not that it's a thing in Denmark to think that being unfaithful is okay, not at all, but in Denmark there are always two sides to the same case. Danish people just tend to immediately lose respect for people who just melts down. And if a true Dane once in a blue moon gets upset in public, they will tell you off in the most cool and collected way possible. And they will most likely be smiling while doing it. It's scary. And again, don't do surprise visits. I've said it before, Danes do not like surprise visits. I can almost promise you that 90% of your Danish friends won't like it. So your future Danish self needs to give your friends a heads up before you visit them, because they need to hide the body first. To be a true Dane, you need to be very honest. You don't just go up and ask people, how are you, without being ready to listen to the full answer. And you certainly don't answer that question yourself if you don't know the person who's asking. Danes won't pretend to care how your day is or pretend to care how you're doing if you're not a central part of their life. Such social pleasantries just don't exist much here. Danes will even leave private gatherings without saying goodbye to you if you're not close enough with them. And this, again, makes the Danes seem cold and distant to other cultures, but I promise you, if you are a central part of their life, the Danes will be the best support you've ever had. It's just like getting into the country, really. It's really hard getting in, but once you're in... And this leads me on to, as a Dane, you don't need to be constantly making new friends because you are very satisfied with the close friends you already have and maybe have had since forever. You just can't be bothered to maintain healthy relationships with every nice person you meet. And this may sound negative, but it's simply just because as a Dane, friendships are about one of the only things we take very seriously, and we actually expect them to last a lifetime, so to us, it's okay to be a bit picky. But maybe I'll get more into the topic of how you need to make friends in another video. Meh. Another very important step on how to act Danish is that you have to understand and preferably be sarcastic. Denmark is home to some of the most self-ironic people of the world. Sarcasm and self-irony has their address here. In Denmark, you need to be able to laugh at yourself to survive social gatherings, and you need to be able to understand the difference between serious and sarcasm. Because in Denmark, that's a very fine line. It's nearly invisible. Danish humor uses a lot of ambiguous and contradictory comments and indirect jokes. When people do stupid things, we like to say, well done. And when we ourselves are very bad at something, we like to make this statement while failing. Wow, I'm so good at this. So if you're really bad at understanding sarcasm and or self-irony, then don't worry just yet, because you have like 5 strikes. So you're actually allowed to misunderstand 5 times before you're kicked out. And last, but certainly not least, if you're invited to a party, yeah, drink at that party. Not drinking at a party you were invited to in Denmark is just like not eating at a dinner party you were invited to everywhere else. And if you're thinking, hey, I can party sober, I've done that many times, good for you. We totally believe you, but the thing is, Danes will be quick to exclude you from any drinking game and or event during the evening if you don't at least act just as drunk as they are. But I have to drive home. Not a valid excuse, I'm afraid. To be a true Dane, you should have left the car at home. So now you've learned the most basic steps on how to act like a real Danish person in your everyday life. Yeah, welcome! Surely more can be added to this list, but one can only cope with thinking, this sounds really bad, but it's kinda true. Fuck. This many times in one day? I swear, we are a lot nicer than we sound.